It's Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. This deadly disease is typically caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. Ladies, protect yourself by getting your routine pap smear testing done. Now, this is the best way to detect abnormal changes to the cervix before they develop into cancer. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I am Theodore Henry. Today we continue the health check by looking at the dangers of antimicrobial resistance in humans. Farmers, we're also exploring how you can save money while sanitizing your operation. Stay tuned.
In 2018, the public healthcare sector continued to chart a dynamic and transformative path through physical infrastructure and equipment upgrades and the implementation of best practices to ensure the optimum health of the population.
I think we are on the right track in terms of where we need to go to cater to the needs of our population.
Catch our review of the Ministry of Health in 2018, coming in Jamaica Magazine on Monday, January 14, 2019.
Farmers, if you have any oil kegs lying around or even an old iron trolley, then this next feature is something you may want to pay keen attention to, especially if saving money this year on farm equipment is your top priority.
Based on laws imposed by the United States, Jamaican farmers are required to be certified under the Food Safety Modernization Act, as well as the Global Good Agricultural Practices Global GAP, if they want to export to that country. Given this development, the Rural Agricultural Development Authority RADA saw the need to introduce a hand wash station for farmers. It's part of the measures to assist local growers improve sanitation on their farms and fulfill one criteria for export certification.
The concept behind this is just a little bit different. Usually other hand wash stations will have a gravity-fed system, but what we done, we have incorporated a system that was developed here locally several years now, where we used the pump and spray that was introduced some time ago. Although it was introduced for the same concept in terms of showing and things like that, we have used the features of the pump and spray to add a little bit more dynamics to our presentation here. We have a pressurized system. So that calls for a person self. One person can actually wash their hands here without assistance from somebody else. So you'd go there without contaminating that water source that you have.
This hand wash station is not only affordable, it is also easy to assemble. All you need is an iron trolley, 3 oil kegs, a pump and spray instrument, and some PVC pipes and fittings.
From there, at a local welder, we modify the trolley, and in a way that we could install the kegs. So here we have the trolley, and we weld the handles, so it would be able to hold the keg steadily. And this is a pump and spray that we can get locally. So how it works is that a farmer or anybody who is working in the field would come by the wash station. He would get some soap on his hand, okay, and he would pump. He would pump the system. The pair would pressurize the bottle, and in return air will displace the water, and the water will comes up. And then the farmer would wash. After washing, the farmer wouldn't have to touch anything to contaminate his hands. He would just move over to the hand towel and dry his hands.
It was good. I enjoyed doing it. It wasn't hard at all. It was just easy. Just put my foot and pump it. Water just come up, and I wash my hands.
The effects of not having a hand wash station, well, it's really more for safety as it relates to you, the farmer, because what RADA's mandate is also about is to educate farmers on best practices as it relates to agriculture. And the farmer's safety is a part of the best practices that we are trying to encourage out there.
The team also successfully designed a water pump made using a weed hacker, which can fill a 50-gallon drum in 5 minutes.
This waka can be used for more than one purpose. So a farmer can have a waka but need a water pump, cannot afford a water pump. Now what the farmer can do is just easily retrofit the waka and a pump, merge them together so that he can have a water pump and a waka. So at times, whenever the farmer need a waka, we just remove the pump and put on the waka section.
Farming may be expensive, but through innovation, your basic equipment could be just what you need to ensure greater savings.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come here. Take time running. Are we ready for the ops? Drive up on your block. Step out now me block. Cyber take about your laptop. Pull up every lock. No evidence to drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. Sin you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Please say you get wet, look out for. Look out for. Look out for. From you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Please say you get wet, look out for. Look out for. Look out for.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
Antimicrobial resistance currently presents a complex threat to global health. It not only affects plants and animals, but humans too. Check this out.
In 2015, the World Health Organization declared antibiotic resistance a global threat, resulting in the development of a global action plan. By 2016, all member countries were mandated by the United Nations General Assembly to develop an action plan using the global document as a template.
Antimicrobials are used around the world to control and treat infections in animals and humans, but their overuse and misuse puts their efficacy at risk. The ultimate objective is to reduce the need for antimicrobials by preventing disease. In this regard, animal diseases and infections should primarily be prevented by ensuring biosecurity, following good production and good management practices, and implementing integrated disease control programs to minimize the occurrence of diseases.
Antimicrobial drugs are also used to treat diseases in animals and plants, as well as in farming to boost production. The result is that they can end up in the environment, in water and waste from health facilities and farms, and sometimes even in our food.
Both our health and agriculture ministries, therefore, have joined forces with the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, and the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, to develop a national action plan underscoring the need for a broad-based, multi-sectoral approach and response to this rising issue.
Not long ago, I sat in the lab looking at a culture plate of a urine sample taken from a 40-odd-year-old lady. And I literally felt chills down my spine as I saw that an organism was growing on it that was resistant to 21 of the 22 antibiotics tested against it. And the one antibiotic it was sensitive to would not have worked in real life. This is a scary prospect. And I'm sure persons will wonder, well, what do you do? What do you do with such a patient? So this reinforces the fact that the problem is not coming, it is already here.
Bacteria we can't stop fight. Antibiotics, take them right. Antibiotics, antibiotics. Come make me tell you how to take them right. Only take them from professionals with medical credentials. Do not share them with friends or relations. Use prescriptions, follow instructions. Take them till them done with no interruptions. Bad bacteria we can't stop fight. Antibiotics, take them right.
What do you do with your leftover antibiotics? Which I'm sure some of you have, because many persons rarely ever complete the course. Do you return it to the pharmacy, as a good citizen should? Or do you flush it down the toilet? If you do the latter, where does that water go? And how can the antibiotic influence the soil it eventually ends up in and the callaloo field it nourishes? Does that have implications for us?
AMR is fueled by factors including the less than optimal prescribing of antibiotics by some physicians and inadequate adherence to recommended behaviors by patients, including completion of prescribed antibiotic courses. According to the National Survey of the Knowledge, Attitudes, and Prescribing Practices of Doctors regarding resistance in a Caribbean country, 80% of Jamaicans reported sharing antibiotics. 50% thought the same antibiotic worked for all infections. Only 14% admitted to asking doctors for antibiotics, with doctors giving them antibiotics in 90% of cases. Only 50% thought the course of antibiotics should be finished. In other words, from start to finish. You know, we have this tendency that we start taking it, we feel a little better, and we feel like we don't need to take it again. It's a very important thing, very, very serious, and it's something that we really need to do more to address.
Responsible and prudent use of antimicrobial agents include implementing practical measures and recommendations intended to improve animal health and animal welfare while preventing or reducing the selection, emergence, and spread of antimicrobial resistant bacteria in animals and humans.
In an ironic twist, the antibiotics that kill the bacteria that would kill the patient have now created bacteria that can no longer be killed by these antibiotics and will therefore kill the patient. Antibiotic resistance is real. This here is a call for action.
January 1, 2019, the government of Jamaica will impose a ban on single-use plastic scandal bags, 24 by 24 inches or less in dimension, plastic drinking straws, and the importation of expanded polystyrene foam. Plastics take up to 500 years to break down and end up in our environment, stifling our animals, plant life, and livelihoods too. Refuse single-use plastic products. Start using reusable items. Bring your own bag. The ban on plastics is effective as of January 1, 2019. Preserve our land. Support the plastic ban. Exemptions apply. Contact the National Environment and Planning Agency for more information.
Plastic bottles are polluting our drainage systems, and they eventually end up in the sea, causing harm to aquatic plants and animals. This doesn't have to be the case, though, if you recycle. Here's how.
Recycling, the process by which used materials are converted into new, usable products. One of those commonly recycled materials is the plastic bottle. It's often used to produce a number of products, from clothing to furniture and even other bottles. But did you know that bottles can be repurposed into a greenhouse? Well, a team from the Richmond Park Primary School in Clarendon not only built a greenhouse, but also created an irrigation system along the way.
The JCCP and the UNDP involved us into a project in ways how we can sustain the environment. So So our school, we came up with the idea of recycling plastic bottles, and because we are in the farming, our school is in the 4-H club, we decided to do the greenhouse and plant crops inside of it. We use plastic bottles a lot in our schools and our surroundings, and we see them all over the place. So we and the students, we came together with an idea to collect all the plastic bottles in our communities, and then we bring them back to our school, and then we wash them, and then we started to build the greenhouse. This size, it took us 1 week, exactly 1 week. Inside we have 6 types of drip irrigation system. We have the cone dripper, where we put the plant inside, we cut the liter bottle and put the plant inside of it, and the water is absorbed by the absorbent cord into the soil. That is, the plant can get the water and the nutrients also. And we have the hose dripper. When the water runs off the roof and catches into the bucket, it leads to the hose and it waters the plants also. And we have the plant hangers and the syrup bottle self-watering system, where the water drips from one bottle to the next until it waters all the plants. So you don't have to go every day to water plants. The bottles are there, it's a self-watering system. All you have to do is to pour some water inside the bottles.
The greenhouse was a hit at the 66th staging of the Denby Agricultural Show in Clarendon and caught the attention of several government ministers, one of whom was a minister without portfolio in the Agriculture Ministry, J.C. Hutchinson, who indicated that this project was in line with something he had been advocating for.
What I've been speaking mainly about is the hydroponics, which part of what you see there is the hydroponics, where you have the water coming through the plastic bottles to filter to the plants. And also you could have aquaponics also, where you have the fish below, and that filters through the plants, through the plastic bottles, and comes back out. Inside there is cooler than outside here, and I think if we can have some of these going, it might suit quite a number of persons who might think of setting up house.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. The use of plastic bottles in the agricultural sector is definitely becoming a thing. So give it a try. Start a backyard garden and help to rid the country of these pollutants. We all can play our part in helping to make the country a cleaner place and even help to boost the economy.
Protect Jamaica, plant your grass. Help us become more resilient to climate change impacts. Protect Jamaica, plant a tree. It improves the island's national biodiversity. Trees may be fruit, ornamental, or timber, but must be native or suitable to the area's natural landscape. Join the Jamaica Million Tree Campaign and help to plant 1 million trees by June 30, 2019. This is a call to action by the National Environment and Planning Agency.
Diagnosed with cervical cancer each year. The risk of developing these abnormal changes is associated with the infection of HPV. Not only that, early sexual contact, multiple sexual partners, and taking oral contraceptives increases your risk of developing cervical cancer. Ladies, protect yourself. Get tested. It is better to be aware than to be living in absolute fear.
January is being observed as Cervical Cancer Month. Have you gotten your HPV vaccination or done a pap smear?
Globally, cervical cancer is the second most common type of cancer in women, with over 85% occurring in developing countries. Every year, 528,000 new cases are diagnosed. and there are approximately 270,000 deaths. By 2050, without any intervention, the number of diagnosed cases of cervical cancer is expected to increase to 1 million per year, with approximately 90% of the deaths occurring in developing countries like ours. A major factor is the human papilloma virus, HPV, of which there are approximately 200 types that infect epithelia, or skin tissue. At least 14 types of the human papilloma virus have been found to cause cancer of the cervix. Types 16 and 18 are responsible for 70% of cancers of the cervix, which is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in Jamaica. The virus can be transmitted through skin-to-skin contact, from mother to child at birth.
Current estimates indicate that every year, just under 400 women are diagnosed with this disease, with approximately 185 dying from the disease, with the majority of deaths occurring in women between the ages of 40 and 64 years of age.
A prevalence study conducted in Jamaica in 2010 revealed that the overall prevalence of any type of HPV infection was 54%. Cancer-causing HPV types were detected in 34.9% of the women, and HPV types 16 and 18 were found in 10.5% of the general population and in 71% of women with abnormal pap smears. This reality has prompted the Jamaican government to take the initiative to prevent cervical cancer through the introduction of the bivalent human papilloma virus HPV vaccine.
The World Health Organization, WHO, recommends that HPV vaccines be included in national immunization programs as a core strategy for primary prevention against cervical cancer. WHO states, Mr. Speaker, that HPV vaccination for girls ages 9 to 14 years is the most cost-effective public health measure against this disease.
More than 70 countries around the world, including more than 20 countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, have already introduced the vaccine. Several studies and monitoring by the World Health Organization, WHO Global Advisory Committee on Vaccine Safety, proved that HPV vaccination is safe and works extremely well, decreasing the number of HPV infections and related precancers. The bivalent HPV vaccine, introduced by the Ministry of Health in schools at grade 7 to girls ages 9 to 14, provides for 90 to 100% protection against HPV types 16 and 18. The vaccine is offered free of cost.
Bear in mind too, by the way, that the cost to administer one of these vaccines, for us, the cost is somewhere in the region of $7-8 US. If you go into the private sector, you're looking at anywhere from $11,000 to $15,000. So it's not inexpensive.
This vaccine is not mandatory, and beneficiaries received opt-out forms for parents and guardians to give or refuse permission for their girl child to receive the vaccine.
We can take it that the indication, if anything, is that they want this. They identify with this. I remember one girl indicated that her mother actually called her aunt, who is a nurse, for advice. So that spells good. It says that persons are prepared to consult, get information, and then make informed decisions. And so that is going well.
Approximately 22,500 girls were targeted for the vaccine's introduction in 2017, with each girl needing 2 doses given 6 months apart for full protection.
Generally speaking, the process has gone smoothly.
The school-based strategy for implementation seeks to facilitate greater access to the targeted population. This covers the cost for social mobilization and communication, cold chain equipment, training and sensitization, and procurement of vaccine and vaccination supplies. And this disease prevention strategy will save the government millions. The Ministry of Health estimated that annual cost for the program after introduction will be 73.3 million Jamaican dollars.
In Jamaica, the estimated cost is of the just under 400 cases annually, Mr. Speaker, is some $274 million. I should point out that this figure is only for radiotherapy and does not include diagnosis and chemotherapy.
And for the individual, not just the emotional and physical trauma caused by this cancer is removed, but the financial burden.
In the United States, cost on diagnosis is approximately some 15,000, just under 16,000 US dollars. If the patient survives for a year, this rate goes up to approximately 30,000 US dollars.
Despite vaccination, persons will still need to do their routine pap smear to check for any threat or signs of the cancer, as the key to effective treatment, if it should occur, is early detection. For more information or to have your concerns answered, you can call the Ministry of Health's toll-free line 1-888-1-LOVE or 1-888-663-5683. Also email hpvinfo@moh.gov.jm. You can also visit the website moh.gov.jm as well as social media channels.
So many wish they could visit our shores. We live where they vacation. Brand Jamaica beckons all from the four corners of the earth.
Well, as a Jamaican, I have great pride in selling it. Your pride that you sell Jamaica with is something that it rolls off. Jamaica has so much to offer, and every time I have the privilege of bringing an executive down to Jamaica, an executive from an airline or a tour operator or a travel agency, and you take them across the country, the pride that they said, wow, I can't imagine, especially when it's their first time. Wow, I love this.
Build it. Cherish it. Our wealth is Brand Jamaica.
Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Send your feedback on today's show to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. Also, follow us on our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Download our app on your Apple and Android devices, and you can also visit our website at jis.gov.jm for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.